After dumping William Ruto's UDA party, Irungu Kang'ata now has sent a bad message to him. Welcome to Kenya Lens Media, where we bring you news updates as they break. And kindly, if you are new here, consider subscribing. Now, Murang'a Governor Irungu Kang'ata has declared that he will not, he will continue speaking openly about the country's political direction, even as he raises concerns of intimidation, coercion, and also alleged use of the state institutions against political leaders. The governor made the remarks on Sunday, May 10, 2026, during the Murang'a Youth Service graduation ceremony held at Ihura Stadium. Addressing graduates, residents, and also local leaders, Kang'ata said he has no interest in political confrontation and remains focused on development and also service delivery. But despite that position, the governor acknowledged that the current political climate has pushed him to take a more public stand and also on national issues. Kang'ata told the supporters not to respond to insults or attacks directed at him, and instead he urged calm and restraint, saying that his administration does not want political conflict. The governor said his leadership has always been guided by development rather than political battles, as he explained that his original plan had been to avoid politics altogether until the next election period, allowing the people of Murang'a to judge his leadership based on performance and delivery. Roll the tape.
Ni gavana wa Kiambu wa Matangi. Vitu zake ziliharibiwa tukiona na macho. Kweli ama uongo? Basi na tulijua hizo ni sababu za kisiasa. Basi najua hata mimi wanaweza anza kuletea mashida. Lakini sawa tu, hiyo ni kawaida. Mimi nitang'ang'ana, sitapiga mtu, lakini nitaendelea kuongea ukweli. Wajua UDA imepitia ile njia Jubilee ilipitia ya vita, ya kutesa watu, sawa tu. Hiyo tutawachia Mungu, lakini huwezi tumia njia kutesa, ufikirie hiyo ndio utapanda ile popularity.
But according to Kang'ata, changing political realities made it difficult for him to remain silent. He said his recent statements were not driven by personal interests, but by what he described as his observations of the country's political direction. The remarks come only days after Kang'ata publicly announced that he could not seek re-election as Murang'a governor on the United Democratic Alliance ticket in the 2027 general election. That announcement immediately attracted national attention and also intensified debate over shifting political alliances within the Mount Kenya region. And on Sunday, Kang'ata explained the reasons behind that decision, and the governor questioned that he described as political strategies being used within the ruling party, warning that some methods risk creating public resentment instead of strengthening its support. He compared the current political environment to the final years of the Jubilee administration before the 2022 election. And according to Kang'ata, some of the approaches now being used resemble the same tactics that contributed to Jubilee's decline in popularity. The governor specifically raised concerns about what he called coercive political tactics, and he alleged that force and intimidation were increasingly being used against leaders viewed as belonging to rival political camps. And the Kang'ata pointed to recent incidents involving opposition-linked politicians and also public gatherings. He referenced the situations where meetings attended by leaders such as Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna and the Siaya Governor James Orengo were reportedly disrupted with the tear gas. He also referred to incidents involving the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, saying confrontations at public meetings had only increased the former Deputy President's political visibility. The Murang'a governor argued that such incidents often produce the opposite political effect, increasing sympathy and also public support for targeted leaders. Kang'ata also mentioned much-related incidents, including an event at ACK Othaya, where he said scrutiny or the security interventions raised concern among members of the public. The governor questioned whether accountability had followed those incidents, suggesting that the use of the force in the public gatherings was becoming increasingly worrying. Although Kang'ata did not directly accuse specific institutions or individuals, his remarks reflected a growing concern among some political leaders over the conduct of politics ahead of the next election cycle. The governor also addressed the issue of corruption investigations and also treatment of public officials. Kang'ata said fighting corruption is unnecessary and also important for the country. However, he questioned and cautioned against what he described as politically motivated accusations disguised as anti-corruption efforts. He argued that investigations should focus on genuine wrongdoing and also not be used as political tools against leaders. To support his concerns, Kang'ata cited the case involving Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi. The Murang'a governor referred to incidents in which property linked to Wamatangi was reportedly damaged during investigations. Kang'ata said such actions created the impression that political motivations may have influenced the events. The remarks come at a sensitive political moment as national leaders continue to reposition themselves ahead of the 2027 elections. Mount Kenya remains one of the country's most influential voting blocs, and political developments in the region are being watched closely by both government and also opposition figures. Kang'ata's statements are particularly significant because he has long been viewed as an ally with the ruling political establishment. His decision to publicly distance himself from the UDA ticket for his future political plans has therefore generated major discussion across the political landscape. The governor's comments now add to a growing list of leaders expressing concern over the direction of the national politics, political tolerance, and also relations between rival camps. And in recent months, Kenya's political environment has experienced increasing tension during rallies, political meetings, and also political events. Several leaders across different parties have complained about disruptions, heavy security presence, and also raising hostility at public gatherings. At the same time, the country has also witnessed growing political realignments. Former allies are also increasingly taking different political positions as parties prepare for the next phase of competition ahead of the 2027. Within the Mount Kenya region, those shifts appear to be happening more openly, and some leaders have continued supporting the ruling coalition, while others have signaled discomfort with current political strategies and also internal party management. Kang'ata's remarks appear to place him among leaders calling for a different political approach, and even so, the governor repeatedly emphasized that he does not support violence or confrontation. And throughout his address, Kang'ata maintained that his intention is not to fight individuals but also to continue expressing his views openly. He acknowledged that speaking out could attract political pressure or difficulties, but he insisted that he could continue defending what he believes is right. The governor's message also appeared directed at young people attending the graduation event, and as he addressed the graduates at Ihura Stadium, Kang'ata repeatedly returned to the theme of the service, restraint, and peaceful leadership. He urged supporters not to engage in retaliation and also political hostility on his behalf, and instead, he encouraged focus on development and also progress. That message comes at a time when political temperatures across the country are gradually rising. Analysts also say the coming months could become increasingly competitive as parties seek to strengthen regional influence and also national visibility. And against that backdrop, statements from sitting governors and senior political figures are likely to carry significant weight. Kang'ata's speech now joins a broader national conversation about political freedoms, democratic space, and also the role of state institutions during periods of political transition. For residents of Murang'a and the wider Mount Kenya region, the governor's remarks may also reflect deeper concerns about the future political direction of the region. Mount Kenya politics has remained central to the national elections for decades, and any sense of division, dissatisfaction, and also political realignment within the region often attract nationwide attention. That is all for today from Kenya Lens Media, where we bring you news updates as they break. And kindly, if you're new here, consider subscribing, liking, and sharing our content. Also hit the notification bell so that you can be receiving notifications each and every time we bring you new content.